long enough run.
So we started in California, 600 and how many miles?
664.
664 miles ago.
6,000 more, huh?
We've got 6,100 total. So yeah, we've got about 5,000 plus more to go. And we've been running this was our 14th day. We're running about between 57 and 45 miles a day. That's pretty crazy in and of itself, but you know who is traveling is we've got a small crew who are driving support vehicles. We have 2 RVs and a pace car, and then we have runners on the ground. Sometimes we have a lot of runners. We've had as many as I don't know. Well, I mean, last night at the Crit reservation, we had like 50 people running. I mean, but consistently during the day, we probably had maybe 16 that have followed us, all the way down to 1. So it's been a feast or famine in terms of having runners to help. Now, you can imagine that you've got to be a pretty strong runner to even think about running 50 miles. I mean, in a day, let alone having to do it every single day for several days in a row. So it's not easy. We don't want anybody to kill themselves or burn themselves out, hurt themselves in any way. And Sean has been with us the longest so far, has run how many miles?
152.
152 miles in 2 weeks. This is supposed to be the wake-up call. He personally has run 152 miles in the last 14 days. Now, there were some days where he was the only runner. And so what do you do in that case when you have to run 50 miles and he's the only runner? Well, you have to improvise. My solution was that we don't run those miles, was that we drive those miles. We drive them very slow so that we still get to the marker at the designated time that we have, and we don't lose the framework of the experience for those that are watching us on a live feed. Except these guys didn't want to do that. They did not want to have any miles where there wasn't a runner on the ground. And so we had Keller and Teddy, our videographers, who volunteered to come and they're going to make a documentary out of this entire 5-month journey. So they came along, as you see, just to take photographs. But what did they do? They understood the mission so strongly that they decided to run themselves. So each one of these two, and they said it before, and I'll repeat it, neither one of them strung 2 miles together at one time in their lives. They're just not runners. And together they both ran 14 miles apiece. So Teddy ran 14 miles, Keller ran 14 miles. That meant that Sean didn't have to run 50. See how that works? And so that is so important. So we've had struggles. We need runners. This whole mission is put together, predicated on a structure of support, and then putting legs on the ground so that each one of these miles can be read for each one of these heroes in memory of each one of these families. I should have said this before. Cell phones on silent. Let me see if I have mine on silent. I have my wife calling me in a minute. So we can't do it without the runners. I mean, we can put all the infrastructure possible together to get one from one place to another. But if somebody's not running those miles, there's no run for the fallen. And so it is so very important that we have that happen. And every day, some miraculous way, we get another set of fresh legs. So today, Laura joined us, and Laura joined us at the beginning in Siloam, and then Eric came out a few hours later and joined us for the rest of the day. Laura, I think you're leaving us, right? And then Eric's going to stay for another day or so. And so, fresh legs. If we can get one more, two more, how important that is to making sure that others are rested. Okay, so what are we doing? We're running 6,100 miles. We started in Fort Irwin, California, and we're running to Arlington National Cemetery. We're ending in Arlington Cemetery on August the 5th. That's a set date. So anybody wants to be there, August the 5th, we're going to have a 2 o'clock ceremony, and we will be there on time. Every day we've been running, we've been pretty much on time. We have purposefully, determined that we're going to make that happen. Because a number of reasons, but one is if families want to be out there, we want to make sure that they're not standing on the side of the road waiting for too long. So we don't want to be too early, and we really don't want to be too late. So that's very important. The other thing is a lot of families can't be with us. But we're streaming this live on the internet. So if the family can't be there and they go and they look up where their marker might be and the time, they can go to our website and listen and hear their loved one's name called out loud. So that's very, very important for us, so that we maintain this integrity that we've built into the structure of this run. So 6,100 miles we have identified 20,000 individual men and women who gave their lives for our country in the last 18 years. All right, so starting with the USS Cole, October 12, 2000, to the current day, today, we have identified all of those service members who gave their lives, and then we've organized them into a unique place somewhere in the country so that we can say we're going to run this mile for this hero, and then the next mile for this hero, and so on and so forth. So it's all done by chronological date of death. We're still running for, today we ran for those that died between October 2nd and December 4th of 2002. That's all day long, from October 2nd to December 4th, 2002, and we ran for 163 names. That's just 2 months. And 163 fallen heroes in 2 months. And it was only 56 miles. So if you divide that out, those 163 into those 56, that was quite a few per mile. So we've divided them all out across the country. And I know my son's somewhere in New Mexico, and Paulette's, and that was in 05. So 05 is, we won't even hit 05 until New Mexico. I mean, we have a long way to go before we get to the current, state of where we are now. But when we hit Arlington, we will have accumulated and called out every single name, because there's still deaths even today. There'll be deaths tomorrow, unfortunately. There'll be deaths all the way to August 5th. And when we land in Arlington on August 5th, I hope to, at the microphone, be able to call out the last name that died for our country in this run. So the organization of this is beyond anything probably anybody could even imagine in putting it together. And the volunteers and the people that have come together, and the hosting, and being able to come to a place and just relax and have a place to just call home, if you will, just for a moment, and be embraced is very meaningful to us. Peg, and I don't know, can relay that to the commander, and oh, you're the commander. I didn't know. Shit,
Yeah, my name is Chaz Shane.
Chaz George Lutz. Nice to meet you. I didn't know you were even the commander. This is Commander Chaz Shane. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
But it means a lot for us to be able to come and be welcomed. And even though it's us, sometimes it's more, but it's very meaningful to us.
Well, we're glad to have you tonight.
Thank you. And And so it takes a lot, right? It takes a village, so you've heard. I mean, every day we have to have a lot of things fall into place for us. We've got to have runners, we've got to have nourishment, we've got all the vehicles have to work. I mean, we've had so many issues. We've got to have a place to stay. I mean, we've got to get these guys rested and up in the morning and ready to go at it again. We start at dark 30, right at the sunrise pretty much every day, don't we? And then we run till sunset. And so that's our journey. And that journey, is pulled us together as a family. If I could, I'll just call the volunteers. Everybody probably knows everybody. But Paulette and Augie, stand up, please. They're on our team. Josie, stand up. Part of our team. Our videographers, Keller and Teddy. And so this is our core team. This is the group that's going to travel with us all the way to Arlington. Okay, and then we're going to gather a couple more people, hopefully, as we go. And then Sean, stand up. Sean has been with us for 2 weeks now, and he's our core runner, but he's just an inspiration to everybody else. And he's just been keeping the ceremonies going and exactly what it is that has to happen at every mile. He's just been amazing. He's going to stay with us and for what, another week?
Till next Sunday.
Till another week so a week from Sunday, he's going to stay with us, and I hope we get a lot of support by the time he leaves. But he's coming back out again at least one more time, maybe 2 more times, right before the end. Yeah, thanks. Okay, you guys can sit down, and I also. And then Laura and Eric, just our 2 runners for today. Just appreciate you guys coming out. I know it meant a lot to Sean. And we'll work on you, Eric, and give you some more miles. And Laura, if there's ever want to come out at another place, please pick any place in the country. We're going to be doing this a long, long time, right? So. Do we have the live thing going? Oh, it's right there. Okay. Hi, everyone who's watching. Our evening tradition, it's a somber one, is that we read the names of those that we ran for the day. We do that every night, no matter how many names there are, because yes, we ran for them and read them today at every mile, but we don't know who heard them. We don't know how many people were listening. And we want to make sure that those names, there's one more opportunity for those names to be heard again, and even though they're recorded. And so this is an opportunity then for maybe those families that are out there that might not have been able to catch their mile and can't find it in the live stream. They can just come to the end of the day ceremony and they can hear their loved one's name called again. Okay? So before I do that, I'm going to ask the runners, you guys can come on up. This is a tradition we ask the runners to do because the runners are actually pounding the pavement for these names. Okay. So I'm going to let them read the names, and then we're going to have a little ceremony after that.
Stay over to the side. Stop really close.
Sean, did you want to say anything before we start reading the names?
No, you said it all.
All right.
All right, Master Sergeant Robert Patrick Mouse, October 2nd, U.S. Army. Sergeant First Class Mark Wayne Johnson. October 2nd, 2002, United States Army. Master Sergeant Paul Weldon McDade, October 2nd, United States Army. Corporal Matthew Luke Colseth, October 3rd, 2002, United States Marine Corps. Master Sergeant Grady Earl Esom Jr., October 3rd, 2002, United States Army. Corporal Jordan Patrick Lewis, October 4th, 2002, United States Marine Corps. Staff Sergeant Gloria Jean McCorkle, October 4th, 2002, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Daniel Dorsey, October 5th, 2002, United States Army. Lance Corporal Bravo Eric Ivan Bedola, October 5th, 2002, United States Marine Corps. PFC Latanya Denise Moore, October 5th, 2002, United States Army. Seaman Lisa Rebecca Tedstone, United States Navy. Petty Officer, 2nd Class Willie Earl Pass, United States Navy. Sergeant Waddell Hannah Jr., United States Army. Petty Officer Jeffrey Brian Morris, United States Navy. Sergeant Michael Lester Uter, United States Marine Corps. Staff Sergeant Willie Lewis Robinson Jr., United States Army. Lance Corporal Antonio J. Sled, United States Marine Corps. PFC Pena Anthony Concepcion, United States Marine Corps. Private Timothy Otis Whitted, United States Army. Senior Airman Shanice Kimieta Buges, United States Air Force. Seaman James Preston Lee Pennington, United States Navy. Master Sergeant Paul Bernard Rue, United States Marine Corps. Sergeant First Class Joseph James Gear, United States Army. Sergeant First Class Vernon White, United States Army. Sergeant Brian Richard Janis, United States Army. Airman First Class Patrick James Meade, United States Air Force. Petty Officer 3rd Class Gerald Edward Tucker II, United States Navy. Lieutenant Junior Grade David Barrett Scott, United States Navy. Sergeant Robert Eagle Peterson IV, United States Army. Specialist Stephen Addison Collier, United States Army. Airman First Class Justin Augustin Hohola, United States Air Force. Master Sergeant John W. Burns Jr., United States Army. Major Thomas Arthur Lopez, United States Army. Sergeant Clint Austin Sigmund, United States Marine Corps. Lance Corporal Gomez Eduardo Ramirez, United States Marine Corps. Private Raymond John LaFlash, United States Army. Senior Airman Elwood Charles Duncan Jr., United States Air Force. Chief Warrant Officer 3, David Anthony Guerin, United States Army. Senior Airman Eddie Dawkins III, United States Air Force. Sergeant First Class Troy Lee Funk, United States Army. Airman First Class Carrie A. Daly, United States Air Force. Senior Seaman Recruit Robin Lloyd Blue III, United States Navy. Petty Officer First Class Bayani Gabales Martinez, United States Navy. Private James H. Evers, United States Army. Fireman Jeremiah Bradford Syme, United States Navy. Petty Officer 2nd Class Jeffrey Clark Wentworth, United States Navy. Petty Officer 1st Class Toussaint Claudius Leonard Jr., United States Navy. Sergeant Robert Donald Hawkins Jr., United States Army. Commander William Alonzo Elam, United States Navy. Petty Officer Sperry Wesley Laton Walker, United States Navy. Sergeant First Class Omar Anthony Hernandez, United States Army. Airman First Class Eric Allen Paternoster, United States Air Force. Ensign Jerry O. Pope II, United States Navy. Lieutenant Joel Anton Korkowski, United States Navy. Lieutenant Matthew Seth Shubza, United States Navy. Lieutenant Stephen Rommel Navarez, United States Navy. Lieutenant Stephen Nicholas Benson, United States Navy. Petty Officer Second Class Timothy Haygood, United States Navy. Petty Officer First Class Carl Wendell Johnson, United States Navy. Specialist Andre Dwayne Nat, United States Army. Senior Airman John Alvin Seago, United States Air Force. Specialist Anthony William Kasarich, United States Army. Private First Class Patrick Hayden Smith, United States Army. Petty Officer Third Class Jason Michael Marushik, United States Navy. Specialist Jacob Aaron Jarrell, United States Army. Specialist Casey Randall Clark, United States Army. Petty Officer First Class Daniel Gabriel Zurita, United States Navy. Sergeant Major David Brantley III, United States Army. Command Sergeant Major Thomas Eugene Myers Sr., United States Army. Sergeant Timothy Nelson French, United States Army. Major Mary Alice Wolf, United States Army. Lieutenant Harry James Dobson, United States Navy. First Sergeant Glenn Russell Warder, United States Army. Sergeant Scott Wayne Howard, United States Army. Petty Officer Third Class Michael Dean Dahl, United States Navy. Major John Leonard Atkins, United States Army. Petty Officer Third Class Antonio Orlando Rivera Jr., United States Navy.
First Sergeant Johnny Kelvin Dean, United States Army. Master Sergeant Sammy Theron Hood, United States Army. Lieutenant Commander Thomas L. Robinson, United States Navy. Private First Class Juan Manuel Sanchez Jr., United States Marine Corps. Senior Airman John Anthony Quell, United States Air Force. Specialist Macbeth Epipano Linksey, United States Army. Fireman James B. Farron, United States Navy. First Lieutenant Jorma David Hutala, United States Air Force. Staff Sergeant Darren Edward Bedell, United States Marine Corps. Staff Sergeant April Dawn Hafner, United States Air Force. Airman Sally Jewel Crosby, United States Air Force. Petty Officer First Class John Francis Steinbauer, United States Navy. Airman First Class Sherry Renee Barnes, United States Air Force. Seaman Mariana Christina Kadura, United States Navy. Staff Sergeant Nalini Devi Singh, United States Army. Chief Petty Officer Carolyn Elizabeth Brown Banks, United States Navy. Staff Sergeant Juan Batista Santana, United States Army. Private Emmanuel Lemon, United States Marine Corps. Captain Charles James Harlan Jr., United States Navy. Petty Officer First Class Carl Leonard Harris, United States Navy. Airman First Class Jack Joseph O'Brien, United States Air Force. Private First Class Dion Benedict Lashley, United States Army. Lieutenant Junior Grade Eric Scott Porch, United States Navy. Petty Officer Second Class Patrick Cack Sourpool, United States Navy. Sergeant First Class Thomas Anderson Woodson Jr., United States Army. Lieutenant Commander Robert Edward Cluckey III, United States Navy. Private Adam Christoph Warrenkiewicz, United States Army. Sergeant First Class Michael William Sargent, United States Army. Private Scott Louis Leclerc, United States Army. Specialist Pedro Lazaro Pena Suarez, United States Army. Master Sergeant Glenn Allen Ward, United States Army. Petty Officer Second Class Stephen Herbert Robbins, United States Navy. Sergeant Major Errol Luis Schwartz, United States Army. Specialist Pedro Pena, United States Army. Specialist Jonathan Andrew Steele, United States Army. Specialist Jason Christopher Giebert, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Aaron Frederick Brown, United States Army. Petty Officer Third Class Christopher Michael Stieber, United States Navy. Commander Ernest Fortin, United States Navy. Captain Charles Emmert Cox, United States Army. Sergeant Alan B. Tucolo, United States Marine Corps. Private Lamar Thaddeus Turner, United States Army. Second Lieutenant Corrine Lorette Barba, United States Air Force. Chief Warrant Officer 4 Stephen Lyman Adi, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Courtney Allen Herron, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Alan Monroe Siegler, United States Air Force. Lieutenant Colonel Dylan Lee McFarland, United States Air Force. Corporal Jason Douglas Fisher, United States Army. Private First Class Joseph Peter Favorito III, United States Army. Sergeant Renigold Van Gilchrist, United States Marine Corps. Airman Christian Gonzalez, United States Navy. Private Daniel Lee Hepe, United States Army. Specialist Clint Cotton Lanebear, United States Army. Senior Chief Petty Officer Cesar Doria Burdios, United States Navy. Private Wayne Anson Moose, United States Army. Airman First Class Quintella Chantal Albert, United States Air Force. Airman First Class Claudia Isabel Castillo, United States Air Force. Specialist Timothy James Lewis Sr., United States Army. Private Samuel David Cogan, United States Army. Private First Class Anthony Raymond Wagner, United States Army. Specialist Melvin Kilpatrick Pittman, United States Army. Seaman Joseph Janelle Head, United States Navy. Specialist Mart Vernon Parker, United States Army. Sergeant First Class Patrick Charles Clean, United States Army. Colonel John Michael Taylor, United States Marine Corps. Lance Corporal Meseret Mahari Devereaux, United States Marine Corps. Petty Officer Second Class Victor Lewis, United States Navy. Private Neil Edwards, Private Neil Iv Edwards, United States Marine Corps. Private Thomas Michael DeLauder, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Robert Donald Sheehan II, United States Air Force. Fireman Apprentice Robert Alston Dyer, United States Navy. Senior Airman Jacob Charles Partridge, United States Air Force. Private First Class Patrick Graham Gagnon, United States Army. Cadet First Class Justin Patrick Troyer, United States Air Force. Private First Class Jason Thomas Kidd, United States Marine Corps. Seaman Recruit Christopher Charles Cork, United States Navy. Corporal Mustafa Muhammad Bird, United States Marine Corps. Lieutenant Colonel George Michael Prazak, Jr., United States Air Force. Corporal Michael J. Schultz, United States Army. Petty Officer First Class Val K. Buxton, United States Navy. Petty Officer Second Class Matthew Ryan Fry, United States Navy. Private Russia Andre Reed, United States Army. Specialist Richard Buckingham Hubble, United States Army. Corporal Robert Anthony Contreras, United States Marine Corps. Corporal James L. Choice, United States Army.
You beat me to that one. Thank you. One of the things that we do is, after we read the names, is to allow anyone in the room who may have known someone or loved someone who was lost to be able to call their name out loud. And I know that probably only ones in the room besides us are Gold Star families. And so, Cynthia, would you like to stand up and say your son's name out?
Thank you. Lance Corporal Ronald Halls Jr.
Jaylene?
Staff Sergeant Travis James Solinsky.
Paulette?
Gunnery Sergeant Justin Robert Martoni.
And I know James's name was said, but would you like to say his name out loud?
Corporal James Michael Choice.
Is there anyone else that would like to say a name? We can just take a moment of reflection, just a moment of silence, just on all of the names today and the families that they represent and the miles that were run in honor of them. Amen. There's one more thing we'd like to do before we end our evening. Not sure how all this is working. We got it on vertical, huh? Could you hold that up so that it actually... It is always on our honor when we can individually recognize a family, because the organization was created 10 years ago for that very purpose, to make sure that no family is forgotten, certainly that their loved one will be forever remembered, at least not only by the families themselves, but by us as well. And so we created the Honor and Remember flag to become a national symbol, recognizing all of our fallen military, regardless of generation, and to stand and be left as a legacy in this country, as a way for all of our citizenry to be able to say thank you in a tangible way. So we've been working on having the Honor Remember flag established for the last 10 years to become our national symbol of remembrance. It's one of the reasons we carry it across the nation, is because it represents every one of these men and women who gave their lives. It's the only flag in America that specifically says thank you to those families for their sacrifice. And so, it's more than just a piece of cloth flying, very specific symbolism and meaning. And I know most of you know what that meaning is. I'm not going to explain the symbolism tonight, but I do want to share with you that we have a very special flag tonight. And this flag is hand sewn. And it's hand sewn because it's of the value of the flag itself, not only to us, but to the family. And you'll see that this flag is folded in a triangle. Okay? It mirrors this American flag that was folded in a triangle, taken off of the casket and handed to the family at the memorial of their loved one. But this flag, once it was handed, was meant to stay reverently and respectfully in a shadow box in case, as a memory of their loss. But this flag is only folded this way one time, because once the Honor and Remember flag is opened, it's meant to be a celebration of life, not a memorial of death. So I would like the Choice family to come up, please. You can all come up, however you want to do this. Well, don't everybody to come. Come on. You're going to stay down? Okay. Yeah. So this is Logan, right? So we're going to present this Honor and Remember flag. Go ahead and open it, Sean. You guys just back away a little bit so that Mom can get a picture of this. There we go. You guys can walk a little forward there so everyone can see it. There you go. This Honor and Remember flag is presented with eternal gratitude and respect in memory of Corporal James M. Choice. With this flag, we honor this patriot's unwavering dedication and remember his selfless sacrifice. By displaying the symbol collectively as a nation, we humbly recognize the enormity of your loss and respectfully say thank you. So we honor James today for you and the family, and thank you for being here, and thank you for all that your family has done and all that James has done. Hello. So we have a way to fold it.
Oh, okay.
He was just presenting. Okay. Good one, huh? Well, they only drove 6 hours to get here for this flag presentation. Did you all drive 6 hours too? You all came together?
5 hours.
5?
And then 2.
2 for you?
Only 1 for us. We're from Beatty.
Okay. Wow, is Phoenix only an hour away? I'm encouraged. We're gonna get there really soon. Cynthia, you brought your flag?
I did.
Why don't you show everyone your flag as well?
We're kind enough to put my son and also my husband.
Oh, you didn't
Oh, is that
help me.
right?
It was very kind of you. My husband was in Vietnam. And Junior died in Japan, not Fuji, Japan.
So our hope as an organization is that every family who has lost a loved one would receive a flag. It's a long process, you can imagine. And so far, over 3,000 flags have been presented in the last 10 years. So on this journey alone, we've presented 11, I think, in the last 14 days. So our goal was to hope to present one a day all the way to Arlington. And we may get the numbers. I don't know that we'll get one every day, but we're going to, I hope, at least have over 100 flags presented, including in Arlington Cemetery when we get there. So that's all for us tonight. I mean, we've got some stuff to do to get ready for bed and then get up and start this journey towards Phoenix tomorrow. So it'll be 2 days. You guys from Phoenix are welcome to join us. We're going to be, again, tomorrow night, I'm not sure, American Legion somewhere. American Legion? In Avondale, I believe, tomorrow night. And appreciate everybody being here. It means a lot to have some support, and especially to see the families and be able to honor them. So,
American
thanks,
Legion
Dave.
61 Avondale.
American Legion, 61. All right.
Oh, y'all said that's not.
All right. God bless you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. All right, that concludes the night, and we're going to head off to an RV park tonight again. And it looks like my eyes are bloodshot. Love you guys for being out there, and appreciate you listening to the names. And Logan, say hi.
Hi.
Say goodnight, everyone.
Good night, everyone.